Hello, my name is Trevor Schneider and we are live from my kitchen, so welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to give it a couple minutes just so some people can sign on. I see people are signing on as we speak. I hope everyone is doing well today. Hi, all the waves. It's good to see you guys, or lack thereof, or at least be seen by you guys. 29, loving it. We're going to do a little cocktail demonstration. We're going to make a couple cocktails with an Icelandic vodka just to get you guys going during these times. Like I said, I'm going to give it a minute or two, probably one more minute before we start. But my name is Trevor Schneider and I work for Reyka Vodka, which is an Icelandic vodka. And it is an amazing vodka. I've worked for the brand for just about 6 years. I was a bartender before that, and clearly I'll show you some of my skills when we get started. So I see the number bumping up. I'm thinking we're ready to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Reyka first, then we're going to make the cocktail. Reyka Vodka is one of the first Icelandic vodkas sold here in the United States. I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is where I live. We use lava rock filtration. We use Arctic spring water, and we are distilled in a Carter head still, and our distillery is powered by geothermal energy. That's a little bit about Reyka. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to just pop them in the comment box. And I will try to get to them at some point. But without any further ado, we're going to jump right in to the first cocktail. This is a cocktail that I'm super excited to make with you guys. I think you guys have probably heard of an Espresso Martini before, but this one is a little bit different than an Espresso Martini, the sweet dessert style cocktail. So like I said, we're going to start with Reyka Vodka. We're going to start with 2 ounces of Reyka Vodka. Some of the best vodka that we have here in the US, let alone the world. And we're going to move on to 1 ounce of fresh espresso. So this can be instant, this could be, press, whatever coffee. All I encourage you to do is to make sure that it is espresso and that it is fresh. Then we're going to move on to 1/2 of an ounce of simple syrup. Now this is where you could go up if you wanted to. You could go up to 3/4 or 1 ounce if you like things a little bit sweeter. But if you like them more dry or maybe not as sweet, you could go down to 1/4 of an ounce. And we're going to add some ice. And we are going to shake it up. This is my favorite part because you get to dance. Pop our tin. I hope you guys can hear that because man is it beautiful. So you always want to pour something cold that we just shook into something cold. So we have a pre-chilled ice glass. You could put ice in the freezer or you could just put ice in your glass and let it cool down. And what you got here is an Icelandic Espresso Martini, 2 ounces of Reyka Vodka, 1 ounce of fresh espresso, and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Very easy, very simple, definitely not a sugar bomb. It's a sophisticated caffeinated beverage. Coffee is obviously in a lot of cocktails on menus across the world currently. So I'm going to taste it. In Iceland we say skál. So skál. So delicious. I encourage you guys to make it at home. Super easy, super fast. I'm going to put this one down and we're going to move on to our next cocktail, which is the Cappadocia. Now this cocktail requires a different technique. Instead of shaking, we're actually going to muddle it. So I've pre-measured some ingredients out today. And what we're going to start with is basically a small lime cut into quarters. And I'm going to put, 4 or 5 of those in there. And then what we're going to do is add 2 large teaspoons of white sugar, but you can use brown sugar. You can use whatever sugar, coconut sugar, whatever sugar you like. And the reason we're going to do this is that we just want the sugar to start to draw out some of the oils from the fruit, but also from the skin of the lime as well. So then we're just gonna soft press this. And basically what we're gonna get is like a juice style paste. And that's gonna be the base for our cocktail. And we're gonna add some Reyka Vodka to it because Reyka Vodka, frankly, is the best vodka in the world. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So when we're doing this, we just wanna make sure that we get the oil and the juice and all of that out of the fruit. And we also wanna make sure that we get the sugar from a granulated state and so that it absorbs into all the other juices that are in there and the oils. So once we feel like we've got something nice that looks something similar to that, I think you guys can see it. Yeah? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 ounces of that beautiful Icelandic vodka, Reyka. And obviously if you guys don't have these tools at home, like a jigger or a shaker, you can use a mason jar or Tupperware. If you don't have a jigger to measure, you can use a teaspoon, a tablespoon, or measuring cups even. And then what we're gonna do is, I got some nice ice, because obviously we're here in Iceland virtually. So I'm gonna put those in, and then basically what I wanna do is, I'm gonna save that last one. What I want to do here is I just want to combine all those flavors, the sugar and the lime and the Reyka, but I also want to chill the cocktail down so that we can drink it at a colder temperature than obviously room. And what you're going to have is a super bright cocktail. It's going to be super refreshing. It's kind of like a limeade, but it's going to be more fresh than what you guys are used to because of the oils that have been pushed out of the lime. And then we're going to top it with that last ice cube. And then we're going to give it the old college try, which this is one of my favorite drinks to have on a hot day. Doesn't matter where you are, whether I'm in the Blue Lagoon or I'm out on a glacier. This is a great drink to have a refreshing cocktail with. And again, I'll say skál because, you know, we're virtually in Iceland. Oh, so good. Imagine a mojito without mint. And all that brightness, all that green comes through. It's just so tasty. Both of these cocktails, super refreshing, extremely easy to make at home. Like I said, nothing complex. You definitely do not need to either have the tools or any sort of expert skills because, you know, you guys just watched me make it. It was super, super duper easy. I'll say, if you guys have any questions, hi from British Columbia, Canada. It's nice to see you. Let's see if there are any other questions. Reyka Vodka, another great one for a happy hour. Awesome, these are awesome drinks for a happy hour. And also, you know, if you're gonna have people over after the pandemic, obviously, you guys can just make these and it can be kind of conversational and super fun and easy. As I said, you know, just this is the muddling technique, pretty easy, requires a little bit of time, but again, you can converse and share with everyone while you're doing it. And then the coffee one, or I should say the espresso one, is also great for any time of day, before dinner, with dinner, or after dinner. Doesn't really matter. And again, it's going to provide that caffeinated kick that maybe you guys are looking for. I don't know if there are any questions. I'm going to come around and see if I can see any of the other questions. Let's see. I don't think I see any. So, well, with that, I'll just encourage you guys. Well, what does it say? How? I just saw one. How does the espresso on different from one to the one with Baileys? That's a great question. So, not that there's anything wrong with adding Baileys or, say, a coffee liqueur. It's just that that cocktail is going to be very different. It's going to potentially be a lot heavier. And it's going to be more of a dessert style cocktail, right? It's going to be the cocktail that finishes the night. This drink is definitely a lot lighter. It's been referred to as like a really cold cup of coffee. But there is, like I said, 2 ounces of Reyka, 1 ounce of espresso, and a ½ ounce of simple syrup. So it's going to be light on your palate, opposed to being heavy, say, with a Baileys or a cream, or a nut liqueur or a coffee liqueur, which is going to add more sugar to it, which is going to kind of weigh it down, which is how the classic dessert style cocktail is been consumed for years. This drink is obviously very different. Is the espresso better to have chilled or hot? So, another great question. The reality is I've done it both ways. If you do have the time to let it cool down, that's great, awesome. It is not required to make the drink. So you could literally walk over to your machine, press it, bring it into the ingredients, and then build it and go straight away and shake with ice. But again, if you do have time and you just want to put it in the refrigerator for a couple minutes for it to cool down, I recommend that as well. Either one. Another great question. Yeah, of course, Anna, no problem. Thank you. I don't know, recommend a food pairing for each drink. Okay, yeah, so again, the Espresso Martini is very light. This is gonna pair well just as long as it's on the dry side and you guys don't go up in the sweetness. I'm gonna say with any sort of, a sweeter kind of entree, or even if it's sweet like fruit and any sort of berry, and the citrus is gonna go with something a little bit more hearty, right? Or fish. That would be great. I don't know how many people we have tuning in from Iceland, but obviously fish is a big deal in Iceland and also of great quality. So something a little bit sweeter on the coffee side or the espresso side, and then something, kind of more hearty or protein would be better for the Cappadocia. Reyka Vodka is my favorite. My daughter and son-in-law live in Iceland, and I always come for the visit with a bottle in hand. You said it. It's amazing to be able to just fly in and fly out of Iceland, obviously, and visit family, but to visit that beautiful country that is Iceland, the land of fire and ice, and grab a little duty-free bottle on your way home, or even when you just fly in there. Those sound delicious, thank you. Of course, my pleasure. Let's see if there's any more questions that I missed. It's so hard to read the screen. How does the espresso different from the one with Bailey's? We did that one. Where are flight bans being lifted? I don't know. Go to Iceland. I don't know about the flight bans. I don't know when they're going to be lifted. I just would always encourage everyone to stay very safe out there. And that's about it. What is your favorite cocktail to make with Reyka Vodka? What is my favorite cocktail to make with Reyka Vodka? That is a great question. At first thought, I would say it's the Espresso Martini, because I really don't enjoy coffee without Reyka Vodka, and I just think that this drink is perfectly balanced the way that it is. But I would say I also truly enjoy a Collins or a highball with Reyka Vodka, whether that just be Reyka and soda with a little bit of bitters, or like a true Collins, but without gin, with vodka, with a little bit of lemon juice and simple syrup, and topped with club soda. That one is also super refreshing. It's kind of like a lemonade, but a little bit different. Reyka and 2 cubes of ice. That is the best way to drink Reyka, because when you talk about the quality of the brand, you definitely want to be able to drink it straight or chilled, whether that be putting the whole bottle in the freezer or putting it over some really nice ice cubes and allowing it to kind of chill a little bit, but then also be just absolutely brilliant when you drink it. Any other questions for you guys? Otherwise, I will sign off. What makes Reyka Vodka different and better than others? This is another great question, kind of going back to when I started in the beginning saying, I don't know if you guys had heard, but we use Icelandic glacial water, which is arguably some of the purest water in the world. And that water is filtered by Mother Nature, and it comes down through 4,000-year-old lava rock. And the water is completely untreated. That makes up for more than 60% of the final product of the bottle. And just like beer and bread, the water is a very important source for the final taste profiles on the spirit, and obviously for the cocktail as well. So all I'll say is that we use Icelandic water. There's not another vodka out there that's making vodka with Icelandic water. There currently is another gin, and there are, however, a couple other vodkas in Iceland, but none of those come here to the United States. So I know that was a little confusing, but I think I answered the question. What makes us different than that? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the water. Our lava rock filtration process also makes us very unique. And the fact that we use a Carterhead still, which is a still that was originally built to produce gin or Hendrick's gin. We actually use it to create Reyka Vodka in Iceland. Great question. Any other questions? If not, thank you so very much for hosting. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to check me out, my name is Trevor Schneider at Cocktail Ninja on Instagram. My wife and I make a lot of cocktails and at-home demonstrations, so feel free to check that out. Otherwise, you guys have a great time and stay safe out there. Thank you very much. Bye.